YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey here with Watcher of Realms. Now, we have a couple of banners that are upcoming, right? So the first thing to kind of really talk about is the Valkyra Lynx banner. And then secondly, we are going to go ahead and talk about a little bit about what's around the corner, at least based off of what the devs have said in their dev insights, specifically, Kigiri, right? And we also know Falcia is coming, so that's a secondary thing, but first, let's get to the banners that are immediately upcoming. So we have a Valkyra Lynx banner. Now, Valkyra and Lynx are two interesting units in general. Lynx, I wouldn't really go ahead and recommend summoning on. Lynx is kind of like one of those units where if you do go again and get her, congrats, but she's not really going to go ahead and push the boundaries for you in anything like anti-air arena or anything like that. She's a good unit to have. There have been some cases in which she has been used in Guild v Guild. It's just a little bit sparingly, and she wasn't really the best sought after unit for the position that she was trying to go ahead and fill. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily going ahead and summoning for Lynx if you're really just hoping for it. Maybe if you like the character design and you really want to go ahead and get the Fox, then do it, but she's not going to go ahead and be significantly beneficial. One of the cool things, though, I have to say is that she does go ahead and inflict Winter's Bite, which I believe there's only 3 units in totality that go ahead and do this. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just Ymrit, Anora, and Lynx. Unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But that's how we're looking at it. She goes ahead and inflicts Freeze. Cool. Nothing too much more than that. When it comes to Valkyra, however, Valkyra is a really interesting example of how a unit can change based off how the map changes. So before, Valkyra wasn't really a sought after unit. She had some functionality, but once we got Gear Dungeon 1, we start to see her become a little bit more prominent, especially in the top lane. And then we used to see her a little bit for Guild v Guild teams, but that quickly faded over time whenever we got new units like Ares, and then also Ymrit became a thing. And so she kind of fell to the wayside, at least in some regards, right? There's a lot of other options that fill her specific niche as a long-range fighter. Ardea, for example, is obviously going to go ahead and eclipse what Valkyra can go ahead and produce for you. So that's just one thing. However, she does go ahead and provide a lot of really good utility. She does go ahead and have basically a revive. Also, if you go ahead and get her A5, it gives a damage boost, which is actually pretty nice. I've benefited from it a couple times myself, especially whenever I was going ahead and doing like Guild v Guild and I had to go ahead and use her. There is some benefits to it, don't get me wrong. Now, one of the main things that you really also see is this basic attack +1, which is her range boost for her A1. Now, this is kind of like a common A1 nowadays for these long range fighters. Ares, for example, also has the same awakening boost, so it is a nice thing because it goes ahead and allows her to go ahead and hit those tiles for Gear Dungeon 1 a lot easier, and it gives her some additional more like flexibility, genuinely speaking, because extra range means extra chances to go ahead and deal damage. So that's the main benefit that you're looking for. Now, I really just wouldn't recommend summoning on this banner in general because Lynx. If it was Valkyra plus somebody else, maybe it's passable, right? You'd have some genuine argument for it. Now, if you already have Valkyra A5, obviously you're not going to summon for this. I wouldn't recommend going ahead and going for this banner if you have A1. If you have her A0, it's okay to go ahead and get the A1. There's some benefits to it, but I wouldn't go crazy because we're close to the anniversary, right? Now, we have these 2x banners. Obviously speaking, I think every new player should go ahead and summon for these 2x banners. And even if you are like a whale, for example, like some of the people in my guild, I would also go ahead and consider it because genuinely speaking, it's better to get multiple legendaries if you're able to, so you can go sell them for coins in the awakening shop and then benefit in those regards. And then also maybe get a lord. Like, you never know. You have a higher chance of getting multiple legendaries on the 2x banner than just running on the 15. So think about it that way. And then finally, we have some things that are like the Falcia event that is also upcoming. So I would strongly recommend just kind of thinking about that as well. There's a lot of options for the Crawling in the Dark event. If you don't have Falcia, let me go ahead and pull her up here. She is a esoteric fighter. There we go. Now, see, I haven't really used Falcia. She is not even max promoted. Falcia is a good unit. She goes ahead and has mixed sources of damage. However, genuinely speaking, she is not anything that is going to go ahead and massively transform your account. I will say she is good, so don't go ahead and kind of fall into the minutia of is she good, is she not. She is good. She has a lot of usability in a lot of different forms of content. She can be used in APOC 2, she can be used in Abyss, she can be used in a large array of things. However, she is very rarely, if ever, the best unit for the content that you're putting her in. There's a lot of really good fighters in this game, and unfortunately, Falcia does not currently fall into that category. Now, she has that tool range, which is nice. She does benefit from attack speed significantly. I'm pretty sure she goes ahead and gets specialized attack speed, which is also a very, very valuable trait. So you're going to go ahead and push attack speed and AD and crit damage and crit rate on her as much as you can, just to go ahead and get the main benefits out of her kit. If you don't have her, I personally always recommend get the limited. It's always nice. If you don't have her awakenings, I don't necessarily think you need them. I don't think so. Now, we also have a Kigiri banner, which has been quoted to be scheduled. That doesn't mean anything. We don't know the official date. It just means that it's scheduled, which is a step above planned. So it means that maybe we go ahead and get him for the anniversary. So it's definitely something to consider, considering Kigiri is easily, I would say he might be the best overall boss killer in the game. I would even argue that he might be the best limited hero in the game. Now, Kigiri and Wukong are both amazing units. My Wukong is A5, my Kigiri is A1, so you best believe I am pulling everything I can for Kigiri when he does go ahead and drop. But genuinely speaking, if you have the ability to go and stack up your summons and then just go pull everything you can for Kigiri, it's usually your best option, right? So one thing to kind of just go backwards on, right? If you are thinking about going ahead and summoning, really think about what does your account need right now, and also maybe in your own regard, right? What's going to be more fun for you? At the end of the day, it is a game. I strongly recommend summoning for whatever is most fun. I am personally a min-maxer. I'm going to think about every single thing that I need from my account so that it can progress. But in some ways, Valkyra can go ahead and progress your account. I remember my first legendary that I ever got on pretty much all my accounts. It just, for some reason, is always Valkyra. And she helps you go ahead and progress in the game significantly. She can even help you for like gear raid 1. If you really need it for like a decent chunk of the time, she can go ahead and be that AoE damage dealer for you, at least long enough for you to go ahead and get other units that are going to be valuable for you. So I strongly recommend, if you are going to go ahead and summon on these banners, you can do it, but think about it in the long run, because we are going to go ahead and get a limited. We are getting closer and closer every single day to that that amazing anniversary that we should be going ahead and getting relatively shortly here. So just kind of think about it for a second. If you're going to summon wisely. All right, see ya.